Hi, in this video I will review the Hawkeye Firefly 8S with the 90-degree field of view lens. This action camera promises a lot for a very low price. The headline feature is 4K video, and in all honesty the 4K video quality isn't bad, though there are a few caveats. The manual states that there are 3 sharpness options: strong, normal and soft. In reality, the camera menu only has 2 options, strong and normal. And even normal applies too much digital sharpening for my taste. I later discovered that the soft option is selectable from the Android app. However, with the soft option, the noise reduction smooths out so much detail that it looks like a dodgy watercolor effect has been applied to the video. For this test, at 25 frames per second, I used an ND64 filter, which should force the camera to use a shutter speed of around 1/50th of a second. The image is very contrasty and oversaturated, so it would be great if Hawkeye added the option for the user to control these in a firmware update. Hawkeye have released a whopping 16 firmware updates for this camera so far, and seem to be listening to customers, so this is a distinct possibility. The Firefly 8S 90-degree version offers a field of view roughly equivalent to 22mm on a full-frame camera, which is pretty wide. I'd have preferred a slightly narrower field of view, though for helmet-mounted sports, the wider version may be better. The camera offers 3 field of view options: wide, medium and narrow. Though since the camera has a 12 megapixel sensor, there is significant quality loss in both medium and narrow. Effectively, the camera is cropping a portion of the image that is smaller than 4K and scaling it up. You might think that this is a waste of time, as you could simply record the full wide image and then crop it yourself in post. However, with the noise reduction and over-sharpening removing so much detail, there is actually some benefit to recording the narrow field of view. Strangely, the field of view options are disabled when shooting in 1080p, so there is no way to get a 1:1 1080p crop from the center of the sensor. There's a large selection of resolutions and aspect ratios available, though I found only the 4K and 1080p ones to be useful. The 1080p 25 frames per second footage also looks quite good, and this mode offers the gyro electronic image stabilization option, which is quite impressive, though the 1080p stabilized footage is cropped more than the 4K footage. The camera also offers 1080p 100 frames per second. However, this suffers from very bad aliasing, presumably caused by pixel binning. The 720p 200 frames per second video also looked interesting. However, this aspect is badly distorted and the footage looks awful. If the problem is the speed of the sensor readout, why can't they just offer a 720p center crop from the sensor? There are 2 ways to shoot time-lapse, one in video mode and one in stills mode. In practice, the video time-lapse crashed the camera every time I tried to use it, requiring a battery pull to get the camera working again. Fortunately, the camera boots up almost instantly. The time-lapse function in stills mode does work very well. You just have to compile the time-lapse yourself in your video editor. However, the interval that you set does not work exactly as you might expect. Setting the interval to 3 seconds takes a picture every 4 seconds. Setting the interval to 1 second takes a picture every 3 seconds. Presumably, the camera needs just over a second to process and save the JPEG. The stills from the camera are a little disappointing, with far too much noise reduction and digital sharpening. The Firefly 8S comes with a huge range of accessories, including an underwater housing. I had high hopes for using this camera while snorkeling, however I found several issues with the footage. There is a water white balance setting on the camera, however I found this to be ineffective with the red channel completely crushed, to the point that there is no red information for the shadows or midtones. The excessive noise reduction reduces detail, making underwater footage unusable. Again, these issues could be fixed with a firmware update, as other action cameras have very effective underwater white balance presets. The underwater housing did fog up after recording video for a few minutes, though this is not uncommon with underwater housings and there are solutions out there. One of the included accessories should allow you to wear the camera around your neck. However, the part that attaches to the camera was missing from the box that I received, suggesting that there are some quality control issues. The in-camera controls are very clear, and it doesn't take long to find your way around the menus. The screen is also very bright, and you can actually see it outdoors in bright sunshine, even where I live in the Canary Islands. The smartphone app in the official Google Play Store hasn't been updated for a very long time and is useless. However, you can download the very useful and up-to-date version using the QR code that is printed on a card included with the camera. This involves downloading a .apk file and installing it yourself, something that many people won't be comfortable doing. The app provides some additional functionality, including the ability to change the ISO and access the soft sharpness setting. I updated to the 1.0.67 version of the firmware for this review, which offers improved gyro stabilization. However, some users have stated that the older 0.57 firmware produces better image quality, though I haven't tested this myself. I was pleasantly surprised with the build quality, and so far it seems pretty sturdy. Some users have reported that this camera does not record 4K at 25 frames per second, and that video clips stop after just 2 minutes. However, I found no such issues, and I imagine that these issues are caused by using a micro SD card that is not fast enough. I used a 64GB SanDisk Extreme Plus card and had no such issues. Overall, I was a little disappointed with the camera, mainly because the hardware should be capable of producing a better image. The over-sharpening, excessive noise reduction, and underwater white balance issues could all be resolved with a firmware update, and if that happens, then this would become a great little camera, especially for the price.